you this morning? Wide awake, right? That's perfect for today.
Oh, good. I'm
Yeah.
barely awake.
No, we're going to listen to a few videos and try something called non-sleep deep rest.
Oh, that would be good.
Uh-huh. So this is a protocol that was developed by Andrew Huberman, one of my favorite people.
Mm,
He has combined Yoga Nidra, which
mhm.
is a very,
I know Yoga Nidra.
yeah, it's very commonly used for all sorts of things related to relaxing and releasing tension and stress. And he talks about the scientific and the neurological reasons why this is beneficial and the
Mm,
healing components, which is what I wanted to focus on. The idea that when we're going through a shift, say for instance, we're noticing a pattern for our eating
mhm,
and we want to shift that pattern. That's not easy to do. We
mhm,
need to rewire neural pathways. We need to release the old ones. We need to do emotional work around the inner critic and anger at ourselves and why did I get to this place and maybe victim blaming, all of these things, right?
mhm,
And then we get to work on this new process. Oh,
mhm,
that's interesting. My computer's waking up. So I have a new computer, and at some point, I guess when the sun rises, my computer goes from black screen to white screen. Anyway, uh,
Interesting.
I know. Okay. So with this concept, the
Mhm,
idea of doing some work around it, having a mastermind call that was especially helpful, and or a routine that you've shifted that you want to cement. This is a really interesting process. So with that in mind, I'm going to play a couple of YouTube videos and we will take a look at this. So this is more of a passive day.
mhm,
Perfect for your wake up. This is a snippet from the Tim Ferriss show that I love too.
The practice that for me has really helped reduce stress and allowed me to fall asleep more easily and control my state of mind late in the evening is this practice that some people call Yoga Nidra, which literally means yoga sleep. And that practice of taking 20 or 30 minutes a day, and it doesn't have to be done every day, and lying down and doing a sort of body scan. It involves some long exhale breathing, which is very relaxing to the nervous system, and really allowing the mind to enter one of these pseudo sleep states. We know from work in my laboratory and work that I'm doing with David Spiegel's laboratory, as well as work from other labs, that state of shallow nap or shallow sleep done in waking allows the brain to, and the person, to get better at turning off their thoughts and falling asleep in the evening. So I use both behavioral tools and pharmacology, which of course is really what supplementation is. I don't have any problem with buffering cortisol a little bit in the short term, so doing that for a week or two, but I wouldn't suggest that people suppress their cortisol long term unless there's a real clinical need to do that. Long term being longer than 2 weeks.
You mentioned long exhales in the context of the Yoga Nidra practice. Is it fair to refer to that Yoga Nidra practice as also non-sleep deep rest, or NSDR? Or are those separate phenomena?
Yeah, so Yoga Nidra is one of several what we call NSDR, non-sleep deep rest protocols. Admittedly, I coined the term NSDR because scientists like acronyms almost as much as the military likes acronyms. And I did it deliberately not to rob the beautiful history and community that is Yoga Nidra and the yogic communities of anything, but rather because many people are averse to doing anything that has a name like Yoga Nidra. And yet it's such a powerful tool. It's a zero cost tool that has enormous effects on not just accessing sleep and calm, but enhancing rates of neuroplasticity, something that we could talk more about. Also, David Spiegel, again, our associate chair of psychiatry at Stanford and a close collaborator and friend of mine, is a world expert in clinical hypnosis. We are part of just in full disclosure, we both sit on the advisory board of a company called Reverie, REVERI.com. Reverie is a zero cost app on Android and Apple that has short hypnosis protocols, anywhere from 10 minutes to 15 minutes. Hypnosis and Yoga Nidra both fall under the umbrella of Nsdr, non-sleep deep rest. And these are protocols that people can use to deliberately access states of deep rest for sake of, again, falling asleep more easily, reducing stress, but also for enhancing rates of learning of neuroplasticity. And because these are zero cost tools, and because they're grounded in excellent peer-reviewed research, I feel comfortable mentioning them. And what you find is that if people who are not familiar with meditation or mindfulness, or maybe they're not from West LA or the Bay Area, if they hear Yoga Nidra, they think magic carpets, and they hear hypnosis, and they think that somebody's going to control their brain. Nsdr is my attempt to create a more friendly language, which is because all of these things are really just the same thing. They really involve two things. One, self-directing a state of calm. That's something that we never learn how to do unless we have a need to do it. We suffer some trauma, we have chronic stress, we start taking a mindfulness class. Self-inducing a state of calm through respiration and vision is the hallmark of Yoga Nidra and hypnosis, and frankly, of all meditative practices. Our thoughts follow our vision and breathing, and I can explain why that is in a moment. In addition, these Nsdr type practices involve not just self-directing calm, but they also involve directing our focus to something. We generally have a hard time falling asleep because we think we have to turn off our thoughts completely like a switch. But the transition to sleep involves allowing our thoughts to become fragmented, and then we become relaxed, and then the brain enters this state where space and time are very fluid and not under our conscious control. And those are things that we can teach ourselves. The Yoga Nidra scripts are found all over YouTube. There's some great apps out there. The zero cost ones that I use are any of the stuff by Kamini, Kamini Desai, Desai. I like her voice very much. Some people, like my sister, loves Liam Gillen's voice, another zero cost Yoga Nidra tool, Liam Gillen, Lgillen. You have to find a voice that you like. The Reverie app is David's voice. He has a very hypnotic voice. And there are scripts in there for smoking cessation, stress and anxiety, sleep, etc. These, I really want to emphasize, in addition to being zero cost, are very powerful tools if done regularly. There are 2 papers that were published in the last 2 years from Cell Reports and Cell Press Journal, excellent journal, showing that a 20-minute non-sleep deep rest protocol after a bout of intense focus or intense attempt to learn anything, skill learning or cognitive learning, accelerates plasticity by about 50%. So you are learning faster, much faster, and retention of that information lasts much longer. And that's because these are sleep-like states. And we know that neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change in response to experience, is triggered by high focus, by deliberate periods of very high focus. But the actual rewiring of neurons, the formation of new synapses and the reordering of the circuitry that leads to that skill or that cognitive ability becoming reflexive, that happens in states of deep rest. And non-sleep deep rest, Nsdr, whether it's hypnosis or Yoga Nidra or a shallow nap of about 20, 30 minutes, those things will all accelerate learning.
Okay, got that? So that's the basics of it. Now I want to give you a more, I don't know what the best way to call it is, a more clear specifics on this.
Sonia,
Yeah.
any of the things he recommended, do you recommend them?
Yeah, Reverie for sure. I do. Let me just stop my share here for a sec so I can see. So Reverie for sure. I believe very strongly in the power of hypnosis. It helps me tremendously. So I use a couple of different things. There's a special meditation from that you can't, it's too expensive. I got it off of when I was with Mind Valley.
So Reverie is REVERIE.com?
No, I think it's just an I at the end.
REVERI.
Yeah, I'm going to put up all of the links for these also in the magic, as well as when I send out the information on this, when I plug this into YouTube. Yes,
'Cause
Reverie. Yeah, go ahead.
I found when I was at this ashram and there was a lot of trauma going on from people that were there, someone said, try Yoga Nidra.
Yes.
And if you can give yourself up to it, it's amazing because you And the doctor who was taking care of me when I came back from Africa, and it was chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, she says, Yoga Nidra, the 20 minutes of Yoga Nidra is like 3 hours of sleep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Not only that, what I do with the Yoga Nidra is I start playing. There's a particular one that I've learned to love. And I think there's a combination of things happening. First of all, the concept of Yoga Nidra is to literally walk you through and relax your body.
Yeah.
So you're intentionally focused on that rather than on the crazy stuff that you remembered from the day, all of those cycles of thoughts. So that helps me just physically. Plus, there's a comfort in hearing the same thing. That's why he says, find a voice that works for you. Insight Timer has a ton of Yoga Nidra sleep. I recommend the Yoga Nidra sleep because there are some that are just designed for relaxing. That's another form that you can use. So yes, absolutely. Reverie. Yeah, go ahead.
The other thing that I have found, I've been using the same sleep from Insight Timer, but it's 11 and 9 seconds. And they say that if you go back to the same one, I've been doing it for about 2 years. As soon as you hear it, your body is being told, okay, it's time to sleep. This is what we do. I never hear the full thing anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the premise for the getting to sleep. The
Yeah.
other aspect of this is about after you have, and he talks a lot about study because he's a neuroscientist and he teaches, right? He talks about study and really digesting the information that you've learned, especially for neuroscientists. I can't even imagine. He flips off these words, these long 18 syllable words, and as if it's crumbs. It's simple for him. But that's because he has obviously had a lot of focus on that. So if you are studying something, this is a very important tool as well, but it's also important if we are trying to change a habit.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's important to do that change and then focusing for even 10 minutes. So we're going to do a 10-minute explanation here. I want to play for you. This is a 4-minute explanation from him about the non-deep sleep rest. And yeah, and then I'm going to give you guys some links. I'm going to give you my Insight Timer one that I really like, my sleep one, as well as this Reverie. There's another app that's out there that I've been using too that is it's a little bit weirder. And I'm going to talk about it some more next week. But yeah, go ahead.
I've always wondered what you and Litzy study a lot together. And I always wonder when you say, oh, I need to do my studying with Litzy, if your brain and your body are already conditioned to be more alert. I think that this whole habit stack, James Clear stuff, is so right on. And he has it from someone, I forget who the scientist was. He did the steps, but a scientist did a lot of what his stuff is showing he's right. Yeah, it's amazing stuff.
Yes, to your comment about setting aside, I do believe that specific learning every day has been really helpful for me. Litzy and I have been studying for years now together, and it's about an hour a day, maybe 5 days a week. And it has made a huge difference just the two of us being able to interact together, as well as, you're exactly right, the focus in the moment. So yes, this next thing is called non-sleep deep rest. It's from Andrew Huberman's system that he has, and I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see what this is. Hold on. Share.
It's used now in a lot of trauma release programs. I lump all of these things like hypnosis and yoga nidra into what I call non-sleep deep rest. And the reason I coined that term, Nsdr, is that A, I like acronyms because I'm a scientist, and B, I think a lot of people are averse to something called yoga nidra because it sounds like you're going to be doing down dogs or up dogs or chanting or ohms or something. And for some people, that's a barrier to entry, when in fact, much of the value of yoga nidra is simply the self-directed relaxation. Likewise with hypnosis, people think stage hypnosis and you're going to be like clucking like a chicken, whereas there's a well-known and established utility for clinical hypnosis. So non-sleep deep rest is a kind of catch-all term for tools that you use to deliberately downshift, move the seesaw to the other side. Yoga nidra is, I think, my favorite tool of all. Yoga Nidra literally means yoga sleep. These are free scripts on YouTube. There's a theta rhythm one that I happen to like, but there are many others. You have to pick one where the voice guides you through a number of self-relaxation steps. And sometimes there's an intention or something of that sort. And it brings your brain and body into a state that's very similar to sleep, but not quite sleep. Yoga Nidra done 1 to 3 times per week has an immensely powerful effect on teaching you how to deliberately turn off your thoughts. It's allowed me to work in, I think, a far more concentrated way than I would otherwise. It's used now in a lot of trauma release programs. People who are dealing with a lot of overwhelm will do Yoga Nidra for 30 minutes or 20 minutes, sometimes even an hour a day. Yoga Nidra and Nsdr have been shown to replenish levels of certain neuromodulators like dopamine and reduce cortisol, reduce a stress hormone, significantly more than with traditional meditation. And there's a nice paper that is entitled Yoga Nidra Practice Shows Improvement in Sleep in Patients with Chronic Insomnia, a randomized controlled trial. Basically, this study looks at, as the title suggests, people with chronic insomnia, although the results certainly carry over for people who don't have insomnia. The key result, I believe, in this paper is that, quote, salivary cortisol reduced statistically significantly after Yoga Nidra. What do I mean by that? There was a statistically significant reduction in cortisol levels, the stress hormone, immediately after the Yoga Nidra practice. Here's the takeaway point. If you want to get better at falling and staying asleep, or falling back asleep if you wake up in the middle of the night, or if you are generally challenged with sleep issues, an excellent behavioral practice for which there are terrific data, meaning data that show that a stress hormone, cortisol, can be significantly reduced, as well as certain neurotransmitters can be replenished, as well as, and this is key and covered in this paper that I mentioned a few moments ago on Yoga Nidra, that the total amount of sleep that you need can be reduced, at least somewhat. Then Yoga Nidra or an Nsdr practice done, frankly, any time of day is going to be beneficial. It's a very powerful tool. You asked when to do it. I like to do it in the morning, right after I wake up, if I felt I haven't slept enough. And the reason for not sleeping enough could be because I couldn't fall back asleep, I'm ruminating, I have to get up and work that day. I come out of that Yoga Nidra always feeling as if I slept more than enough. It's really remarkable. I do a 30-minute Nidra. And then there are times when in the afternoon I'm feeling a little run down, and sometimes I'll take a 20-minute nap. The rule on naps, according to Dr. Matthew Walker, is naps should always be shorter than 90 minutes. So they could be 10 minutes or 20 minutes. They should never interfere with your nighttime sleep. So if you can take a nap and still sleep at night, great. But if you take naps and that disrupts your nighttime sleep, then you shouldn't nap. Yoga Nidra could be done in the afternoon instead of the morning. Or if I do wake up in the middle of the night and I'm really having a hard time falling back asleep, I'll do a Yoga Nidra as a replacement for sleep because it's the second best option. A lot of times I'll fall asleep during those Nidras, which is great because I wanted to go to sleep. I love them. Or I use Reverie. I'll use that app. So I would say do it first thing in the morning or in the afternoon or any time of night, but it's not something you have to do every day. I think a lot of people think, oh, you have to do it every day. You're teaching your nervous system how to deliberately relax. I lie down on any surface. I've done them in my car before if I'm like, I hate commuting and I hate traffic. So sometimes if I'm feeling really tired, I'll just pull the car over, not on the side of the freeway, but I'll pull over into the neighborhood and I'll put the seat back so I'm not fully reclined, and I'll just listen to a Nidra, and I'm out of that. I feel great. I love Nidra. I think it's so powerful because I'm not a great meditator. I do meditate a bit, but meditation is an active process. This is about shutting off thinking and doing.
Okay. So now, are there any questions?
I just think for someone who has a little bit of ADHD, his lectures
Are you talking about me?
No, I'm talking about me.
Okay.
His lectures are brilliant because it's in tune and you're getting the hearing and the seeing for, perfect. I love him.
Yep. I agree. I couldn't agree more. So in essence, he has coined the phrase NDSR, non-deep sleep rest, which is based on his love of and appreciation for Yoga Nidra and how it has helped him. But he's also embellished it with the neuroscience of neuroplasticity and the new neural pathways that can be created and the intensity with which you can add to your learning, but also to replenish your hormone levels that are positive and to deplete the hormone levels that are negative. So lower cortisol, higher dopamine. This last thing is his actual 10-minute meditation, he calls it, but it's the non-deep sleep rest. And I'm going to play it even though we've got only 4 minutes left. It's technically more like 11 minutes, but this is designed to, I'm going to go and sit in my chair and listen, but I'll be back. So you'll be able to be entertained. If you're watching the screen, you'll be entertained by the flipping, flapping birds. But we're going to listen to this protocol that he has created with his voice. There are other options out there as well.
And you're going to send that link in the magic.
I'm going to put all the links. Yes. And I'm going to put this up on YouTube as well. And all the links will be underneath that. And I will get started right now and share my screen.
And deep relaxation. Welcome to this 10-minute non-sleep deep rest protocol. Non-sleep deep rest is a powerful tool that can allow you to control the relaxation state of your nervous system and your overall state of mind. It takes advantage of the fact that specific forms of breathing place us into a state of deep relaxation by slowing our heart rate down. It also takes advantage of the fact that we can control our perception, that is, which sensations we are focused on. And by doing so, we can shift our brain state from thinking, from stress, from planning, from anticipation of any kind, positive or negative, to one of pure sensation and deep relaxation. You'll want to do this protocol seated or lying down. So if you're not already seated or lying down, please do so now. You'll also want to close your eyes. So if your eyes aren't already closed, please close them now. Throughout this protocol, you'll want to breathe normally, unless instructed to do otherwise. One pattern of breath you'll be asked to do is to inhale deeply, ideally through your nose. But if you can't do it through your nose, inhale through your mouth. Try that now. And then exhale all of your air through your mouth. Let's do that again. Inhale deeply through your nose or your mouth. And then exhale completely. And as you do that, exhale through thinly pursed lips, as if through a small straw. Repeat that 2 more times. And understand that long extended exhales through the mouth slow our heart rate down and relax our nervous system. Then you can go back to breathing normally. Now, in your mind's eye, imagine yourself standing over yourself, looking down at your body, which is seated or lying down. And imagine holding a flashlight or a spotlight and directing that at your feet. Focus your attention on whatever it is that your feet happen to be in contact with. Could be socks, sandals, shoes, or merely the air. It doesn't matter. Focus your attention specifically on the bottoms of your feet and try and perceive whatever it is they are sensing. They could be tingling, could even be numb. It doesn't matter. Focus your attention specifically on the bottoms of your feet. Now imagine expanding that spotlight to include the tops of your feet, your shins, your calves. Expanding that spotlight further to include your thighs, your hamstrings, and up to your waist. Now, with your entire lower body illuminated inside the beam of that spotlight, inhale deeply through your nose or through your mouth. And exhale completely through thinly pursed lips until your lungs are empty. Repeat that twice more. And each time, as you exhale, imagine your lower body sinking down about a centimeter into whatever surface they happen to be in contact with now. Now move the spotlight to your abdomen and focus your attention on whatever it is that your abdomen is sensing. As you inhale, your stomach should move out slightly, and as you exhale, it should sink down. Expand the spotlight to include your upper abdomen, your chest, your neck. And now in your mind's eye, imagine that spotlight expanding to include your arms. Continue to breathe normally. Now focus your perception on whatever contact surface your back happens to be in contact with. A shirt, a chair, a sofa. It doesn't matter. Simply focus on the contact points. Bring your attention and your perception to those points of contact. Inhale deeply through your nose or through your mouth. And as you exhale, imagine your back and your upper body sinking about a centimeter into whatever surface they're in contact with. Continue to breathe normally. Now move the spotlight up to include your face, the top of your head, and the back of your head. And as you continue to breathe normally, focus your perception on relaxing the muscles of your face. See if you can extend the duration of your exhales ever so slightly. And now, in your mind's eye, expand the spotlight downward to include your neck, your chest, your arms, your abdomen, your waist, your legs, and down to your feet. Imagine yourself looking down at your own body, illuminated inside of this spotlight. And in your mind's eye, deliberately dim that spotlight. Make the illumination less intense. Inhale deeply again through your nose or through your mouth. And exhale completely through thinly pursed lips. And as you do, imagine your entire body sinking into the surface that it's in contact with. Now, while continuing to breathe normally, move your toes ever so slightly. you'll notice that you are in control of your nervous system. You direct your perceptions and your actions. Move your ankles, bend your knees just the slightest bit. You can move your upper body from side to side, your head from side to side, or even nod, just a slight. Move your head from side to side, or nod ever so slightly. Then move your hands, lift your arms a tiny bit, and set them down again. And now slowly open your eyes. And as you do, you'll notice that normally your nervous system is bombarded with sensory information, mostly visual information, which you have eliminated during this non-sleep deep rest protocol. You are able to control your perception by focusing on your sensations, and you can control which sensations you perceive by directing that attentional spotlight to whatever part or parts or entirety of your body that you like. This is the remarkable power of your brain. It can direct your actions and your perceptions, and it can do so in order to bring your actions and perceptions into heightened states of alertness, or, as you have done now during this non-sleep deep rest protocol, to bring your brain and body into a state of deep relaxation.
Brilliant. You're on mute, honey. You. Oh, I never got to say that to you. I like this Yoga Nidra better than the one that I used to do, because the one that I used to do used to tense and release.
Mm-hmm.
Can't tense and release my toes anymore because of the arthritis, but this is just focusing on it. Excellent.
Gentle, very gentle. I agree.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just reflecting for myself on how I was feeling. I got a really good night's sleep last night, and so I was curious how I would feel about doing this. And I even set an alarm just in case I dozed off, because that does happen for me. And the last thing I wanted was this recording to go on for a while. That would be very, I don't know, it would miss something. I could hear you. I could imagine you, Sonia, wake up. But I was very relaxed. I love the breathing part of this. And of course, the straw breathing just amplifies for me whenever Andrew Huberman does something that I think is really important. It's really great.
You ever trip over him? Because you've been quoting him a lot in about the last 6 months.
I've subscribed to his YouTube channel for 2 years now. Yeah, his app, not an app, he's got a website, and I've subscribed to it for a long time. There's really great search ability for him. I don't remember where I heard of him first, but yeah, he combines a lot, and he does a lot of work with weight issues and metabolism and hormonal issues, which is probably where I first found him. But
What I find interesting, Jen, who just came up clean from cancer, but still has Lyme disease issues. She's off to California, not the LA area, to do a lecture on the impact of naturopathic medicine on oncology. And there is some of this information that would really support what her lecture is all about.
yes.
Yeah, Yoga Nidra. Yeah, excellent. I love when the medical or science world finds something that is non-pharmaceutical.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what, frankly, I'm looking for physical ways to adjust things for me that I can do intentionally, that I can do mindfully, that I know are going to impact. And that in itself is proven to be an added boost in whatever it is you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Did you get a chance to do some NDSR, Sharon?
I
Excellent.
I did. And I've got to
Excellent.
go because I have another call, but I thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good to
Appreciate
see
you.
you this morning. Happy Sunday.
Nice to see you, Sharon.
Nice to see you, Marcia.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
I will post this as soon as I can with the links. And
The other thing I wanted to ask you is, what time is it on Wednesday? 1
let's
o'clock
see,
my
it would
time?
be 1:30 your time.
2:30, okay. And the other thing my therapist asked me to do, is it heart happiness? Breathing, finding a heart happiness meditation. Just look on YouTube. She says to expand the heart chakra.
Let me just look on Insight Timer really quickly because they have a lot of that's my go-to for your heart happiness. Let me just share my screen for a minute and then you will see the wealth.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are courses
Heart happiness.
as
Yeah,
well as guided meditations.
good. Go to Insight. Yeah, I've been using Insight Timer. I'm going to send you my nighttime meditation. The thing I love about it, it is so positive reinforcing that it talks about you are a gift to the universe. Your presence in this world makes a difference. And it ends with, sleep wonderful, my blessed friend. It's so loving. Yeah, and I put it on and I'm asleep.
What you're reminding me of when your person was recommending heart happiness, probably 10 years ago now, maybe more, someone read my chakras and she said my heart chakra looked like it's flat as a pancake. She said it was spread so thin. I was helping so many people. I was worried about so many people. I was really, you understand. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so it's interesting that I can't imagine that isn't going to be a really good thing. Mm-hmm.
And the other thing in some of the reading has been, you cannot be a light to others unless you love yourself.
That's right.
I thought, what an interesting thing. You just said you can't, your flat heart kept giving and giving. And the only one you can count on to love you, even though there's lots out there, is you. Such common sense. Yeah.
It is. It is. I'll put these in the magic. This is streaming into the magic right now. So I'll put it in the underneath the magic, as well as when I get this recording and plug it all in, it'll be there too.
Enjoy your day.
You too.
Here.
Love you, my dear.
Love you back.